Hey guys, it's Alex. So for today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips about going to UC Davis as a design major. If you are going to UC Davis this fall, I'm super excited for you. It is a great school. I really had a great experience. And if you don't know, I graduated last year, June 2019, with a BA in design. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't subscribed yet. It would make me super duper happy. So whether you are going in as a transfer or you're going in as a freshman, time management is so important. I cannot stress this enough. You're going to have to learn to manage your time so well. It is super important for you to get stuff done, for you to get acquainted and I really understand like the fast speed of you turning in projects that have to be due, and with you trying to be involved on campus but also trying to do like get work done. Like time management is such a huge thing that it would be great to practice prior to going to college, but I think that's one of the tips overall I think is important for just going to college overall or for any kind of like future. I definitely recommend time management, and yeah, I definitely recommend that you manage your time the best to your ability, and whatever works for you, definitely use that. I really do want to make a video all about how to manage your time better, so I think I will do that as well. Sometimes as a design major, you don't feel like you need to go to office hours because you're getting work done within the class because it's a studio course or something like that. So you feel like you can ask questions in class and stuff like that, and you feel like you don't need to go to office hours. But either way, I really saw office hours as being a way to build a relationship with your professor, which is super important because post-grad is going to be so beneficial to you, and to asking for advice, to possibly a professor becoming a mentor for you and finding jobs or anything like that. So I definitely advise building a relationship with your professor. I would do my best to really build a relationship with the professors that I would feel comfortable with or anything like that. I really think that it's such an important thing to do, and especially during college is like the best way to do it. Another tip that I definitely recommend is getting involved. So sometimes, more specifically for a design major, sometimes that means volunteering or finding a job within the campus that is your major related. So like doing advertisement or graphics for something on campus organization, or getting into a club and doing the marketing for them or graphic design for them. Whatever it is, the type of design or focus you want to do, try to tie that in with what you're doing on campus. So one of the tips that I really recommend is joining the graphic design club at UC Davis. It is by far such a good thing to do because they do a lot of studio tours that I really recommend that would help you build connections with not just the people in the club but also people that you get to meet that work at those studios, for example. So I definitely recommend getting involved. And obviously if you want to do extracurricular activities and join some club sports or anything, you can do that, but it's all about time management though. Don't forget about time management because it's really important. So because UC Davis is so broad and they let you pick and choose the classes that you want to take, sometimes that causes the students to only gravitate towards like all graphic design classes or all fashion design classes. But I think it's important to branch out of that, and even though like coding is probably not gonna be something you feel is useful or something you're not interested in, I think it's good to, for example, take a design coding class or take a lighting and theater class. Like branch out a little bit more. I really highly recommend. It really comes in handy because in the future when you're first starting off, when you first graduate, you don't know what job might pop up first, and anything might help that you can tie down to your experience to that job. But I definitely recommend branching out a little bit more than just sticking to one type of design and taking just all the courses there. So I definitely recommend that. Another thing that I will recommend for sure is something that you will be doing in classes, especially your studio design classes, is critiques. So it's important to come in with a mindset into these classes and into the school as a design major that you have to kind of learn to appreciate critiques and people picking at your work Obviously, in the critiques that there are in class, people aren't going to be rude. I mean, personally, I never had an experience like that. I mean, I don't want to say never, but for the most part, you're set to be saying critiques nicely. You're never should be saying critiques in a bad way or anything, but it's important to learn to appreciate critiques and appreciate feedback. So that's something that I really like, and I learned to appreciate a lot. So I definitely recommend coming into a mindset where like you appreciate feedback already, like you want to ask questions to your professor about like, what do you think about this, or should I try something else, or your peers, or your, you know, anybody that you want to ask like feedback on. It's super important to be able to appreciate feedback and critiques. Another tip that I really have that I think is important, that also really took me a while, is to share your work. I definitely recommend this, like whether that means creating a social media page and posting all your work, whether that means like telling somebody like, oh yeah, I made this or something like that. Not in a bragging way, just sharing like what you love to do, which is, if you're a design major, then you have to kind of love it, I hope. So just sharing your work, whether that means on social media, like I said, or like on your webpage, if you have a website, sharing your work as much as possible really is such a good thing to do, and not feel like you're so bad and you don't want to share it or share with anybody or anything. Like, it's good to share, it really is. And especially because not only can you get feedback, but you can also build on that and like improve. So I definitely recommend like sharing your work as much as you can. Another tip is that perfectionism is real, and that's okay. So you are expected to finish things by a deadline and present things by a deadline and everything. So I would definitely advise that you have to remember that not only is time management important, but you also have to understand that not necessarily is every single project going to be perfect, and that is okay. And if you have what you consider perfect projects, that's amazing. But like, obviously with design, I don't feel like you can really perfect something, or with art, I don't know, like, because you can also always build on things. When I feel really strongly about the fact that when somebody is like very creative and very creative driven, like they can always build on whatever project they're going. There's always going to be ways you can improve and better something, or make something into something else. So I feel like no project is necessarily ever perfectly done, completely done. I really had a hard time understanding that like I had to turn in something in when I wasn't that happy about it for like a class or a project. So I had to just come into terms with letting myself know that I can improve on it after, and that I just have to do my best at this point, and that there is no necessarily perfect project or anything like that, because you can always build on, or you can always get more feedback, you can always keep improving. Another tip that I highly recommend is get an internship. You guys, it is so important. Like, being post-grad right now as a design major has been, I can make a whole entire video on that, to be honest, but it's just, I highly recommend, based on my experience and based on a lot of my friends' experience being post-grad in design or not in design, to get an internship. Specifically, I would do it like sophomore, junior year, and outside of the school, I would hope for the like it would be better, just because like I feel like it would help with getting a job after. Usually with companies, that if you want to work at a company, I'm speaking in that like way, but if you want to work at a specific company, like try to get an internship while you're in school, and then hopefully, most likely what will happen is they'll offer you a job after you graduate, because that's like you've already been an intern at that company or wherever you want to work. So I definitely recommend internships so much. Please research internships in the area where you want to go, whatever company you want to get in. Like, please do an internship your junior or sophomore year as well. You can do either, but I definitely recommend I would do it my junior year or sophomore year. I mean, depends on your time management, like where you would have a little bit more time, because it is time consuming, but I definitely recommend doing an internship. Another tip that I highly recommend is get a mentor. So that can either mean like a mentor, like a professor, or that can also mean just somebody you know that works at a company that you really want to work at. But yeah, it can literally be anybody or somebody in your field or somebody who has the position that you wish to work in or at someday. Like, try to just find a mentor and literally ask them, like, have a coffee date with them, like, you know, just talk and get to know them. This usually happens through building connections with various people, and then you kind of find somebody who, like, oh, like, I would love for her or him to be my mentor. And then you ask that, like, could you be my mentor? Like, these are my plans, this is what I'm currently doing, I'm in school, blah blah blah, like, could you be my mentor? Like, I think it's super important to have a mentor. I highly recommend. Another tip that I have is having a LinkedIn profile. So personally, I feel like that's been super helpful, especially in the job hunting for myself. So I highly recommend having a LinkedIn profile, but I would definitely recommend doing it before I did it, because I didn't really do LinkedIn until like I graduated. So I definitely recommend, like, literally make a LinkedIn like your sophomore or junior year. Like, that would be great. Having that really helps, because then you start to build connections and you can connect with them on LinkedIn, and it's super helpful. I think LinkedIn is a really good platform. But I feel like you can also apply these tips for other schools as well, but I definitely recommend these based on my UC Davis experience as a design major. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments or send me a DM or anything. I would be more than happy to help you answer all the questions. And I definitely will be making more like graphic design or branding videos, or creating my website, or showing you guys my portfolio, stuff like that. I really want to make more design videos, so if you are interested in that, definitely give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. It makes me super duper happy, and I hope you're having a beautiful day or night, and I'll talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.